Hello. I want to apologize in advance if a dog comes into this frame, because I certainly have two who are looking at me very curiously right now. This is my first video, so I think they are a little unfamiliar with the setup I'm currently doing. Also, if you hear huffing or shadows. Oh, here he comes. I don't know what they think. Okay, much. Hopefully they both go back to sleep soon, but we shall see. I might have to cut this if you don't leave me alone. Anyways, this is, like I said, my first video. I won't do a super long intro, but I am hoping for this channel to be primarily about books and book boxes. I'm very into them. I don't know if they're necessarily ever worth it. I don't want to say that. They are definitely an extravagance that I currently find a lot of joy in, particularly I do book of the month, which I enjoy. I almost enjoy getting them as much as I enjoy putting them in the little book boxes when I'm done with the books. I'm gonna see how soft spoken goes, because I personally like soft spoken a little bit more than whispering. Whispering is fine, but I feel like sometimes people get, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can't be really loud while still whispering. I think people think because they're whispering it's automatically ASMR, when I wouldn't necessarily say that's the case. Some people have very aggressive whispers, and I think I might be one of those people. Whereas when I'm doing soft spoken, I feel like it forces me to maintain a little bit more calm. So today I'm going to talk about half of what I read in September. The reason being that it is still mid-September, but I need to return one of these books to the library, and I think you'll know which one when I show it, because it is actually currently overdue. But luckily they don't have late fees anymore, so I wouldn't have had to put it on hold again. So I might also experiment with silent tapping ones too. I don't want to get super into reviewing the books as much as other people do, simply because I'm a bit of a hater when it comes to books. I love plenty of books. I can be very picky, and I feel like this year in particular I've been reading a lot of books that I just have not enjoyed. But the lineup, actually, funny enough, that I have right now is filled with books that I did like all of them. But I've been reading so many books. I've read, I think, 59 books so far this year, and I feel like they all have such unique textures that I tap on for my own enjoyment, and I figured why not make a channel where I tap on them and share with you guys. I'm not super big into tracing. That's just not a trigger for me. I might do it sometimes, but I'm also going to try to keep these videos from being super long, because I just personally, I know a lot of people love long videos. I think when they're less stimulating and you want to fall asleep to them, that's the case, but I'm a kind of a midday ASMR girly, so I like a short video to watch in between doing things to just kind of calm me down and chill out. I don't think can do finger flutters, so I just want to apologize for that right now. But let me light this candle. I've been buying this scent from Target for the last about 4 years, and it never lets me down. Ooh. these are, actually, yes, I am gonna move this. These are the three books. I don't know if I can fit them all. 3 books I've read so far. And I did enjoy all of these. This is obviously the book that is due at the library, and I really need to return it so someone else can read it. Luckily, I actually bought the last 4 books in the series specifically so I don't have to worry about this, because I've been dealing with waiting for the hold to come in and then becoming overdue, and it's just easier to own them because I got them for really cheap. So we'll start with this book. I tried to read one. I tried to read one nonfiction book a month, and this was a choice from my Goodreads to read, which I'm trying very slowly to work through all the old books. I believe this is from 2019 or 2018. 2014. Never mind. But I added it, I think, later than that. But this was really good. If you're someone who doesn't read a lot of nonfiction but wants to dip into it, or wants to write mysteries or crime fiction, I highly recommend this. She writes in a very easy to digest way. This is just, to me, a perfectly structured nonfiction book that really, it told a lot of, it had pictures. That's #1 for nonfiction. But it just told a lot of stories to help illustrate things, and each chapter was divided into something like pathology or blood spatter, fire scene investigation, and then she would tell like corresponding cases that help develop the science, or as it's used in modern time. There's a little picture interlude. I just had a great time with this. I also read it a lot faster. Usually I read a little bit every day from my nonfiction books, and it takes me about a month to read them, but I read this in about 10 days. It was very good. This is not the super most triggery book. It's pretty much your typical library book, but is the Firekeeper's Daughter. This is a Book of the Month book, which I actually did not get from Book of the Month. I got this as a gift from a friend, which she got from Half Price Books, which I just recently went and found that they sell a lot of Book of the Month books. But this is a YA novel that I assumed from the cover was a fantasy series. I swear I read an entire summary of that described it as fantasy. Imagine my surprise when I opened it, and it was not. It's, I guess I would describe it as YA crime fiction thriller. I guess thriller more than crime fiction. But having said that, I left it. And yes, I read the book jackets when I'm determining what I want to read, but I never read it before I start the book, which is sometimes a bad thing and sometimes a good thing. But this book was very enjoyable. I love that it told everything in a very, it didn't assume the reader was dumb, I guess I would say. It allowed for the complexity of the world and the cultures and the characters. It didn't simplify things to tell an easy story. I also love that it took place in Michigan, which I've been a few times. I know a couple people from Michigan, and they specifically know of Sugar Island. So I found that enjoyable. The nice thing about Book of the Month is that the interior book is just as triggery as the cover. This, I'm not sure. It doesn't have a month, so I'm assuming it is an add-on because it just says young adult down here. Usually has the month and the date. So I'm assuming you noticed I did not summarize the book. I really think I enjoyed it more going in blind. But it is about a young woman, a year out of high school. And kind of what is the inside joke would say? 18-year-old Dennis Fontaine has never quite fitted, both in her hometown and on the nearby Ojibwe reservation. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She dreams of a fresh start at college, but when family tragedy strikes, Dennis puts her future on hold to look after her fragile mother. The only bright spot is meeting Jamie, the charming new recruit on her brother Levi's hockey team. I'm not going to say anymore. I said that as a spoiler. I think it benefits greatly from going in blind. Finally, I just finished this late last night. It is third book in the Throne of Glass series, not counting the prequel. My friend read the prequel after this book, whereas I read it after Throne of Glass, which is interesting because it sort of affected each of our experiences about the series and certain characters. I don't want to spoil this at all since it is a later book in the series, but suffice to say I enjoyed it. I actually originally started reading this series just because I am an aspiring writer and these books are so popular, and I really kind of wanted to know like why. I didn't think I would enjoy them, but I am greatly enjoying them. I'm not huge on the fae element that was introduced more so in this book. I'll just say, I'm not going to get into the whole fandom side of things. I'll just say I love Kale. He is one of my favorite characters. I also love Manon. It's hard to know how to pronounce the names in this book. But she is the witch who is introduced in this book, and I adore her. Those are probably my two current favorite characters. I really do not like these covers, even though I know they're the original covers and actually kind of worth a bit of money. supposedly. I got it from the library, so I don't know how much it's worth. It's funny. This book's a library book as well, but I feel like the tapping sounds different. This has a deeper sound, maybe because it's bigger. This book also, I love the pages. I think this is a newer copy, and when I say like, I don't know if it translates to the camera, but I just had a great time flipping these pages. What it is. I think it is a new copy. It's just, it's smooth. That's crisp. This isn't even so much as a trigger as like oddly satisfying. Just having a good time here. But this was greatly enjoyable. I cried about 5 times towards the end of the book. I'm very excited to read the next one. So these have been my 3 books that I've read so far in September. I should hopefully have, honestly, maybe not that many. Maybe 1 or 2 more books that I might make a short video for the rest of September. I read like 11 books in August, which is when I got inspired to start these videos, and then of course followed it up with a very, very slow reading month. But I will check in with you in about a week. See you then.